A few years ago, I figured out why a lot of people can't achieve success and they can't become financially stable. My name is Paul. I'm over 40 years old and I'm not done yet. I'm just getting started. But a few years ago, probably 7 years ago, I was really struggling financially. Kids were on the way. We were renting an apartment, me and my wife. And it was tough. It was a tough situation. I mean, I was making okay money, you could say, per week, but I was working for someone, as I've done for the past 20 years. And I was living in New York, and the bills were piling up. And basically everything that I was making had to go towards those bills, and sometimes I had to dig into the next month's pay to pay the bills from the previous month and then try to make that up as we go. And that's why people get stuck in a rut where, they ask their bosses for more hours and they keep putting more time in and they keep, doing that. And the big problem, there's a couple of issues with living that way. The first problem people have to understand, and you have to understand, that you have to change your life in a way where you cannot, you have to get out of the system where you get paid for your time per hour. You can't do that. You have to figure out a way to change it so you don't get paid a steady wage per hour, but you get paid a variable, very high rate per hour, and then try to figure out a way to get multiple streams of income coming in where some of them pay you almost like a royalty, like a repeating payment over and over, whether you do the work or not. And let me explain. So about 6 years ago, I moved from New York to Texas. And one of the biggest things was my friend moved here a year before me. I came to visit him. I really liked what I saw and things like that. So we moved. The big draw was also, lower cost of living, lower cost of rental, lower cost of homes, everything. And as we moved, we did see, it's much less for rent. It's much less for houses, much less for gas, less for food, less for electricity, a lot of things. And that in itself makes it easier to live. And the other thing is, I also, when I moved up until that point, I always worked for someone. So for 20 years, I always worked for somebody. I depended on someone to provide a paycheck for me every single week. And every year, pretty much, you have to go and beg for a raise and get whatever they give you. It might be, 25 cents sometimes, 50, $1, $2, whatever it might be, depending on what you're doing. Now, what happened was when I moved to Texas, I told myself, and I spoke to my wife, and I told her, listen, I'm done. This is it. I am never, ever working for someone else again. And I kept to that promise. I opened up a business of my own, just me, no employees, nothing. I've worked in the stone industry for many years. I knew how to fabricate stone, install, meaning countertops, how to work with marble, quartzite, granite, everything. And I didn't want or have a lot of money to put into the business, so I wanted to stay away from the fabrication installation side of it because, you have to rent a shop, you have to buy machinery, have employees. You can't do that stuff on your own. So what I decided to do having background in working with that, estimating it, managing projects with it, managing quality with installations like that, I figured let me start a repair and restoration business for that kind of stuff and see what happens. And I went all in. I built my own website, found out how to do it on WordPress. It's not that hard, believe me. And there are other easier tools that you can use. I registered the business officially to have it registered in Texas. And I started going out to people, introducing myself, meaning businesses, builders, fabricators, designers, all that kind of stuff. People that might be interested in using my services. Meanwhile, at the same time, while I was doing that, and while I was doing the stonework and leaving in the morning and coming back, sometimes I was tired, yes, depending on what I was doing that day. I also started a YouTube channel and then a second YouTube channel on something completely different, on sports, which I'm very passionate about and I enjoy talking about and listening about and watching. So I was in stone, something that I already knew, doing restoration and repair work, which I like doing because I like to do detail work. I like working with my hands like that. And then I also was doing the YouTube in sports commentary, which I really enjoyed as well. And I would do my work, I would come back home, I would eat, I would relax for a minute or two, and I wouldn't go and sit on my sofa and watch, 10 episodes of a show, or go out to a bar, or go to a club, or, whatever. Just waste my time like that, or play video games for hours. I wouldn't do that. What I would do is I would post and create videos for my YouTube channels. I figured out a way that I could post every single day. Right now I post 2 to 3 times a day because I do talking head videos, commentary on sports. So there's not any editing or anything like that. It's very, very minimal. It takes little time. And when you know what you're talking about and you can share your opinions, because you have knowledge and background in that, it's so easy to do those kinds of videos. And my channels have grown exponentially through that time. And I'm making good money in the business, and I'm making good money on YouTube. I created a book, which I also sell on Amazon, sports related. I figured how to do that. I published it, and it sells a few copies every month right now, which is also additional income. Not much, but additional. And so what I'm trying to say is, a lot of people look for this work-life balance. And there's nothing wrong with work-life balance, but you have to understand that if you really truly look for work-life balance and working 9 to 5 and coming back home and not doing anything else to grow yourself, to develop yourself, to improve yourself and work on something else so you have another income and then another income. And if you're just going to sit on the sofa and watch binge shows and just play video games or go to bars or go shopping and just buy brand merchandise, jeans for $200-$300 when you can't really afford it, making, $800 a week just to show off to your friends, that's just stupid thinking. You can't live like that and expect to be successful and have a lot of money and free to do what you want to do when you want to do it. You have to put the time in, you have to put the work in, even though the times are harder than they used to be, and I agree with you 100% if you think that way, they are. But knowing on my own skin, I know it is possible to still, in these times, live pretty comfortably and not worry about where your money's coming from or do I have enough for bills and stuff like that. I'm sorry. Right now, I'm at a point where I make money, I pay my bills, I'm able to save, I'm able to invest, I'm able to go out somewhere and do something. I don't work crazy hours, don't get me wrong. My restoration and repair business, it's depending on the day. Sometimes I have days that I work 8-9 hours because I do a full kitchen restoration. It takes me 2 days like that. But sometimes I have jobs where I repair smaller things and I do 2-3 jobs a day locally, and I leave at 9 o'clock and I come back at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. And I make pretty much what I used to make in a week, in a day. Not working my ass off, just having the skill and charging well for it. You know, you got to know your worth. You got to know what your service is worth. And try to get into something that there's not a lot of it in your area, so you don't have a lot of competition. That's a plus too. But the biggest thing is that you don't have to wake up and think, oh my goodness, I have to do this again. You know, try to find something that you enjoy. You don't have to love it, but that you enjoy doing. That you enjoy doing, that you enjoy providing a service to people, or you enjoy talking about and presenting on YouTube. YouTube, you have no money investment. It's just time. And anybody can be successful on YouTube. I have 2 YouTube channels with a complete subscriber count of coming up on 80,000. I started this channel to share my story, to share my situation, and to show you that it's possible to do, whether it's a business, whether it's YouTube, whether it might be anything else that you want to do. You want to publish a book? Publish it. It's easy to do on Amazon now. You can self-publish your book. And it looks professional when it gets shipped. There's so many different ways to achieve success these days. It's crazy that people just don't take the time to even find out that there are ways to achieve success and make more money and this and that. I can't believe that people are just... They want to do the least amount and expect the most for it. And if you always are going to be in the position of an employee, of being an employee, working for someone, you're usually going to make that person's dreams come true, but not your own. You're always going to struggle. You got to take your future and your life into your own hands. That's all I'm saying. If you have any questions pertaining to what I've just talked about in this video, please ask in the comments. I will try to answer any comment I possibly can. And if it's a question that requires a little bit of a longer response, I'll just make another video on it. So I hope this gives you a little bit of perspective, because if you put time in it and you don't waste time on things that really don't give you anything, but they give you fake happiness, because it's fake happiness. You're watching shows, you're watching someone else's life. You know, even you're watching sports, you're watching someone else perform and entertain you, and you watch their life and their competition while your ass is sitting on a sofa. At least I'm watching it, I'm into sports, but I'm making money on it by making the videos. It's worth it for me. It's not a simple time drain in my life anymore. So just think about it. Just think about that, because it's very important. You can achieve success no matter who you are or how old you are. You can do it and not have to work your ass off, but do it correctly. So let me know what you guys think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.